Hey everybody, Erin here. Today I'm going to give you a quick tour of my garden. So if you've been updated, or watched my video from last year, I only had 2 garden beds and I started expanding. And so here's what it looks like now. And thankfully there's room to go further if we decide to add more garden beds after this season. So I'll give you a quick tour of each garden bed, what's in it. And just to document that this is the end of May, which typically in my zone, we don't plant until Memorial Day weekend. And so I've actually had a lot of my stuff in the ground since the beginning of May. So, which is so surprising that we have not had a killing frost since then. But everything seems to be doing well, except for those warmer crops that like peppers and tomatoes that like that warmer weather. But I did find a really cool greenhouse that I can put over these garden beds. And so stay tuned as I might be reviewing that soon. For my tower growers or vertical gardens, I did start some nasturtiums because I was researching that you can eat the flowers and along with the marigolds and adding those to salads. So I have my top row here is all nasturtiums and then it goes down with marigolds. These I actually purchased at a store, so I'm not going to eat that variety. I'm going to stick to this variety. As these are the ones that I purchased in my edible flowers pack. And so the whole bottom tier is full of all of this different variety of marigolds. So I'll be curious to see what those flowers look like in comparison to these. And for the second one, I have carrots in here, and you can kind of see how my carrots are starting to come up in here. Now, one thing I did notice with the vertical growers is even though it's designed to water from the top and you fill this up and it waters, I also like to spray these outside edges with water until they're like, especially if you've got like a dry period. And then this one I have all my beets, and my beets are planted a little close together, so I'll be thinning these out as I go along here, and hopefully I can get a little fence around my base here because the rabbits like to come up and eat off my leaves. So, but that shouldn't hurt the beets too much as long as they can't get in there and actually eat the beets. My lettuce beds, this is what they look like currently. I'm going to be trying the fish fertilizer with these to kind of see what's a difference within a week. We've been getting a lot of rain, so they've been staying nice and moist. And this is a butter crunch variety on this side, and this is more your tricolored lettuce on this side. And again, this back section corner seems to be doing much better than the front section. And then this one, I have my spinach coming up, and so I'm going to start harvesting some of these spinach leaves that are bigger. And then I have kale, so I'm going to go ahead and harvest a few of the kale leaves. In this garden bed, which is closest to the house and probably in my coolest area, I'll start on this side. I started some broccoli and cauliflower. So like here's one that I grew, there's one that I grew, but then I did purchase some. So these are the ones I purchased from the store. So I'm pretty impressed the fact that the ones from the store and my seedlings are pretty comparable. In between every row, I did radishes. And so I'm just going to slowly start picking them, and then I might start reseeding them back. So I did 2 rows of broccoli, 2 rows of cauliflower. The cauliflower is taking a little bit longer, so I did purchase some starts. This is one of mine. Here's one that I purchased. There's one of mine. So they're a little bit different. And then again, I have the radishes in between. Moving down to the other side of the bed, I did plant kohlrabi. I really like kohlrabi, so I have 10 kohlrabi plants here, and then the radishes are coming up in between. And interestingly, when I back up, this side of the garden bed did really well with the radishes taking off. This side over here that's closest to the house, the starts didn't do as well, which is really interesting to me. So I'll have to further investigate that. And then on this side, I started another batch of radishes, and then in between I have celery. So I actually started these celery from seed. And so they're taking their sweet time to get going, but then I did purchase, and here's another sunflower. I did purchase some celery, and I have that on the outside edge. So my plan is with the celery, the peppers, and the onions to chop them up, mix them together for a seasoning blend that you can have in your soups. For this garden bed, which last year had my asparagus in it, so we've been harvesting quite a bit of our asparagus, and I'm letting the little skinny stalks just seed out. And I'm kind of wondering if it didn't reseed itself, because I see a couple little things over there that look like they could be baby asparagus. So we shall see. I also planted my sweet peas or pea pods here, and so those are going to start growing up, and it's awesome for the end of May here to see them that high already. My chives came back from my seedlings that I did last year. And then in this corner, I planted dill. So I figured between the butterflies and myself, we'll enjoy using those. And then on this side, I had transplanted these ground cherries, they're called. So there's some there coming up, and then I have a whole row of them here coming up. And so those are really fun. And I can see even a little one coming up here. So we'll see how many of these ground cherries come back. And then I did plant some parsley and a couple zucchinis. So I'm hoping the zucchinis will grow over the sides. And interestingly, I have a couple chipmunks that enjoy moving the sunflowers. And so here is a whole pocket of sunflowers. They keep planting them in my garden. So fun little critters. So for my peppermint bed, as far as what came back and what I did purchase this spring. So this is my regular peppermint, and that came back well. This is my mojito mint, and this is starting to finally come back on its own. This one I did purchase. This is an orange mint that I picked up from our local store. So I'm curious to dry that for my teas. My pineapple mint is actually coming back. Otherwise, the rest of it, like, there's nothing back. So I did purchase another small pineapple mint. Then this one is my chocolate mint, and that one is coming back really well. And the chocolate mint tastes so good in the herbal teas. And then this is spearmint. So I only had one sprig out of this whole plant that's coming back. And then I did purchase an apple mint, and so that is doing really well back there. And then I did just incorporate some marigolds in here just to kind of help fill up some space. For my onions and peppers, I did purchase some jalapenos, so I have those on these bottom corners. And then I did purchase from a local greenhouse these purple black peppers, so I'm curious to see how those do. I do need to purchase a few more peppers for in here. And then this whole center is onions. So I actually have 5 different varieties of onions in here. The outside rows that are really tall, those are actually red onion starts that I bought just from the local grocery store. And then in the center, a friend of mine started all of these seedlings by seed. And so she gave me some of them. And some of them are doing really well. And so I'm going to be getting my fish fertilizer out and going to be fertilizing these shortly just to give them that little bit of extra boost. And then on the ends here, I have my cucumbers, and I'm going to let those go up this trellis. One is going to be all tomatoes. So I've already got cages put around them, and these ones down the center I purchased because those are more heirloom tomatoes. So they're more that purple, which is a fun one for me. And then I did plant my own seedlings, so I have my own tomatoes starting in the center of these, and those are actually doing really well in here. I did save some eggshells, crushed them, and put them in here just to kind of give them that little bit of extra, as I hear that's really good for them. So the nice part will be is that these tomatoes down the center, I'll be able to tie them up in between the cages. As far as my herbs, the lavender is coming back, so I can kind of see those green shoots. This is lamb's ear. So we transplanted that last year. I did purchase some new chamomile, so waiting for that. On this edge here is my lemon balm, and I like drying that for tea. It tastes very Fruit Loopy like. And then this one down here is my thyme. I did buy up in this corner a rosemary, and I'm going to dry those for in my chicken coop. And then I also have my oregano came back. So as far as what came back this year, the oregano came back, the thyme, the lemon balm, and then over here the lamb's ear and the lavender. So definitely liking these for more of my herbal gardens. As far as the potato beds, so far we have not found any potato bugs. I'm very impressed for it being the end of May, how well these potatoes are doing in the garden bed, especially for our growing area. I do need to hoe it up, of course, and get rid of some of these weeds, and then find out where there's some missing spots of no potatoes and maybe plant another few potatoes in here. A few of my pots, I transplanted a mum that a family member had given us. In this one, I have basil, which these leaves are actually looking like parsley, so we'll see what they look like. I've got a few weeds in here I have to pull out, but if it doesn't come back, because I had planted cinnamon basil in here, if it doesn't look like it's coming, I actually know a local greenhouse that I can pick some up at. And then these are a couple other varieties of basil that I picked up at that same shop. So there's like a lemon basil, and then these other two. They just have a different aroma to them. And I have here a stevia leaf plant, and I'm hoping to dry this as well. So I'm going to start trimming this off and dehydrating some of the leaves to put in my herbal teas. And I cannot believe how sweet those leaves are. Over here, I have my garden bag potato area. So I have a total of 70 potato plants or potatoes planted. 32 of them are in my garden bed, but then the rest of these are in potato bags or grow bags. And I wanted to see how the grow bags do with potatoes, and if this would be a much easier way for us to grow a larger potato crop. One, because I can put the netting over them, and two, I can really put these anywhere on the farm or in my yard that I want to, where they're not going to be in the way and where I have a nice water source to be able to water them. And so I have 2-gallon grow bags, I have 3-gallon grow bags, I have this 3 cubic foot grow bag, and then I have the 10-gallon grow bags. And so for the smaller ones, I just did 1 potato per bag. And I like this spot here because it gets a lot of good sun. I have a water source right there, and it'll be easy for me to fertilize and water them. And then I did plant 2 potatoes per section in this 3 cubic foot grow bag, and then I did 2 plants per potato bag on these. And these also have this front panel on them, so I'm really curious as they get growing if we'll actually start to see the potatoes touching the panel itself. So I will keep you updated month by month on how my garden continues to do and what things we may be trying out that Amazon offers just to kind of make gardening a little bit easier.